Hello everyone, my name is Mike and I'm here today making a video about the basic uses of green stuff for conversion work. We have some Kneadertite here and a commission. We've already done some repairs with some regular green putty, which I can show you right here. And it is really fast. It's just really for filling in work that is rough and later used to put stuff over it, like what I'm gonna do right now. So this is 3D printed by myself. And it had some mistakes, and the customer wanted some things knocked off the sculpt itself, like he had an axe on it. So we took the axe off, had to repair the back. We're going to tighten that up with our green stuff here, and we're also going to tighten this area up and re-sculpt the medallion that was there, except do it a little different. Something basic that you guys can pick up on. So the tools that I'm using today is really just a pair of scissors, which is just going to be for that. That's the only thing we need the scissors for. And then we're going to store our Kneadertite away in an airtight situation. Now the reason why I don't like using this is because this is already activated right here, so it's no good. You really can't use it. Your green stuff will come out chunky. It'll have little cured bits in it, or little pieces that just won't mix. So just get some water, a little bit of agua, and start to combine your green stuff until it is nice in a unified green color. Just need it. Need that yellow and blue all the way up to a beautiful light green color. And you'll feel, if it's good green stuff, it'll be nice. It'll start turning nice and soft and pliable, just ready for you to make all your beautiful arts, all your sculptings and stuff like that. Now I'm going to show you why I usually don't like using the green stuff putty that comes like this. I like it when it comes separated in a tube, because you'll see little bits and pieces of yellow in here. It's just not, those pieces aren't going to mix. I don't know why, but when it comes together like that, those pieces get cured and they never mix well. So you always have these little pieces of yellow floating around in your green stuff, little hard chunks, and we don't want that when we're trying to sculpt smooth things, So, alright. Let's go ahead and start with some basics, and we'll take off a little piece of green stuff here, leave the other in our water, keep it nice and moist, and we'll go on to the back here, and we see that this is kind of like a strap of sorts, So we've got a couple of places that we want to clean up down here. You see that's too big of a chunk, so, and it's not going to take a lot. We're just trying to cover up these marks here. So let's get this little snake, just a little worm of green stuff. We'll put that right there. We'll grab one of our clay shaping tools and make sure that's wet. This is a clay shaper. That's what I'm talking about. Now, you can use a lubricant too, like Vaseline for this, but water is fine as well. So I couldn't find the tool that I was looking for, so we're just gonna go ahead and use this. So we've got these little scar marks. Covered. And we're just gonna smooth this in. Make sure to line it up. Keep your tool wet. Really basic stuff, and all I'm using as a lubricant, guys, is good old H2O. So you barely have to press. Once you get this on, you can blend the green stuff right in with the rest of the model. It's really that nice to work with. So just form that strap again on this side. Go wet down your tool again. Just gonna go over and practice a smoothing motion. Get this strap over here figured out, flattened, using the edge of our tool here and just going in and trying to make it nice and even. Take your time. You've got a little bit of time to work with green stuff, depending on how humid it is in your home, or your temperature. Really, you've got a varying amount of time to work with it, a couple of hours at least, before it really starts to cure up on you. So now, as you see here, all of that was scarred on the back there is now all done over, and that strap is blended in with the rest of the miniature. And once it is primed, you will see that you will not be able to tell, sorry, that that it was added here, or there was even a mistake there, you know. So, because the green stuff really, it blends seamlessly. As long as you're keeping those tools smooth and wet, you're going to be okay. Alright, so we're pretty satisfied with that right there. Whoops, just messed it up. See, that's where you gotta be careful. Might add just a little bit right there. I see a little bit of a ripping in this. We just need a little tiny dab here to go right into this corner. and you'll see how easy you can fix that little hole that we had right there so it doesn't look like a tear. I'm just going to go in, flatten that out, bring it right back up into a nice little point right there. And voila, just like that, we are back to a nice little dealio. Look at that. Beautiful strap. All fixed. All repaired. Alright, so let's start working on this right here. We'll get another little piece. Like I said, this is, you really don't need a lot when it comes to green stuff. My eyes are always way too big. So another really frustrating thing, well, not another, but one really frustrating thing is, the one thing you have to get used to is not putting your thumb in your sculpt. Once you've got everything done, really, really, really have to make sure you're not ruining what you've done. You know, so here we've got a little bit too much. We're going to put this over here. Make sure our tool is wet. We're going to try and blend this in. We had to do a little repair. On the shoulder here. You'll have to excuse me if I go silent or pause what I'm saying. It's just because I am concentrating, guys. So just bear with me, please. And please excuse if the audio is bad on here. I do apologize. I've done some sound tests. It seemed like it was okay, but I'm not a sound guy, and I'm just trying to really spread some hobby love and try to teach you guys a little bit of something at the same time. So we're going to get a little bit more of a ridge here. I want to push a little into this little hole. Bring our form back. Make sure your tool is wet. Alright. And the one thing too is to know when you got it looking good, stop. Like right there. That looks good. Blend that little seam out a little bit more right there. See that nice little shape we just repaired? That entire deal right in there. And it's looking good. It looks like the thing. So now we're going to go over here, wet down our tool again, wet up our area. And we're going to work on this strap and try to blend it. We've got way too much here. So, again, way too much. You never want too much. I'm going to put this right here. Work on repairing this a little bit. Just try to be smart and a little bit quick with what you're doing. Remember, once this is dried, it's like and cured, it's like plastic. You can sand it, you can etch into it. It is a wonderful medium. Alright, so we're going to go back, wet our tool again, wet our area. Take this time while I'm working to thank you guys for your patronage. I really appreciate it. Sorry about the lack of updates on the videos, but I tried to refund everybody. Those of you that I didn't get refunds to, please make sure that you get me your PayPal information. And depending on how old this video is, ignore what I just said. And here we go. We're getting our back repaired right there. It's looking good. We're going to try and match that other side. All right. So far, so good. Just mash this in a little bit more over here. Wet the area down again. Go back smooth. That is the one thing, is there's lots of smoothing involved. For sure. And that's where, again, the KY or the lubricants, you know, the petroleum jelly, whatever you want to use, Vaseline, that stuff comes in really handy. I know I said KY. You guys know what I meant. Any type of lubricant. Like Disney. So, okay, what I want to mock here is really get this back here, this shape that we have over here. Which really is just like a little snake, comes down and around, and it's got a dot right there. So what we're going to do is take off a piece of our green stuff here. Make sure we got some water. On it. And we're going to run. I don't think this is going to be interesting because we want to make this as small and as skinny as possible, so because it's really skinny. So all right, let's do this. We're going to lay it in right there. Wet our tool. Alright. Match up our trying to blend this just like that right there. Kind of going to be hard to do this exactly, but we're going to give it a go. You want to get it as close as you can to what you see on the other side here. So lots of smoothing. All right, so and let's get this other piece in here that goes up. Into this. We have got to stretch it out a little bit. I'm barely touching the medium with my tool too, guys. The green stuff. Barely touching it. Because it is super, super picky right now. And always remember, I can't stress enough, keep your tools wet. Constantly go back over rough spots. See how it ripped right there? We don't want that. Flattening out this area down here, trying to rebuild this because it's stuck to my tool. That's what happens when you don't keep your tools nice and lubed up, is that the green stuff will stick to them. It'll pull it right off of your sculpt, and you don't want that. So take note of just what just happened and try to be very conscious of what you're doing. Alright, we need to flatten this out. It's not that prominent on the other side. Put that shape in there. We can go back in smooth with our color shapers like so. And remember, we want to get this little dot that we have right here. We want to bring that over here. And tame this ridge line a little bit more into the background. This little decoration, because it's not that prominent on this side, so trying to avoid pushing in too far with the other one. Or into our other detail, if you will. Always remember, keep your keep yourself aware of where you've sculpted already too. You don't want to put your hand in your sculpts, trust me. It is a no fun. Just getting this form, pushing this line down a little bit, because like I said, it's not that pronounced over here. So we just want to feather it in. Feather it into our little belt right here. Alright, and this is where I usually pull out a little bit of lubricant to really smooth out these areas. Wow, I can't get it. Did not want me to pick it up. And I just use your regular Vaseline. Unsponsored, of course. Get out a nice big gob of it right there on my thumb so I can just grab it when I want to. Put the lid back on. Boop, and this should be plenty as long as I don't accidentally, you know, wipe it on my shirt or something. So I'm going to go back over, and you can see the smoothing power of this stuff is amazing. And right here where it was really rough, you can see just how nice this does smooth out a lot of roughness for your sculpt, and you can get some nice edging and detail back into it with just very little effort. And see how nice we just matched that up with the other side just by a little bit of green stuff. And I'm telling you, once you put the paint on there, you'll never even, as long as you keep smoothing in your sides as much as you can, you'll never feather that green stuff in. You'll never see it once you get the paint on there. And that's the glory of that. Bring that back. Just remember, when you're doing this, you always go back and look at your work to make sure, because when you're pushing up here, it'll still push that other green stuff around. So just make sure you're always going back, double checking. Okay, let's go back and work on this little dot down here again. Make sure that it's in the right place. And bam! Give me this little area right here. There we go. Smooth that out. Way I like this smooth too is little circles usually help alleviate like any strokes you might get. Alright, so that looks about dead on right there. Maybe this side up a little bit more. it can be tricky getting these little bits of detail here when you're working with green stuff, because it like I said, once you, especially when you get the Vaseline on it, it gets really easy to mess it up. You have to be very light with it. So I am not gonna lie, I'm happy with how that looks right now. That ridge might be a little bit more than the other one on top there, but I'm happy with it. So we're going to leave it alone so we don't mess it up anymore. That's another good tip. If you're happy with it and you're close to what you wanted to achieve, if not perfect, leave it. Stop messing with it like what I'm doing right now. Because you're just going to mess it up even more. So we're just going to leave that like that and let it cure. And that's the back of that repaired. Smooth this over right here. So one thing, you don't want rough spots on your model. Smooth this in down here. There you go. Look at that. Alright, now we're going to go back in, take some of our green stuff. We've been at it for a minute. This medallion on the front. This is where it's going to get a little tricky too. You have to make sure you don't put your fingers in the back of this when we're working on it. So we need a lot less green stuff. We are not going to wet that surface because we want the green stuff to stick there. We're just going to press in. And what we're doing here is we are trying to recapture this medallion. Now, notice I'm not using the clay shaper because right now what I want to do is I want to get my form first. And to do that, I need a hard edge tool. So let's get in here. In the bottom of our medallion, remember, try not to put your hand in your already sculpted stuff in the background. So and the kicker here is that we want the medallion to be even on this thing, so we've got to make it stand out a little bit from the chest. So we need it to be flat as well. So we've got to add more to the bottom to get this medallion to where we need it. And again, remember, keep your tools wet. We're going back to water right now too. We're not using any lubricant yet because we're not at a smoothing stage. We want to build this platform up. Because what we're doing here with this platform too, we're not going to sculpt anything on it yet, is we're going to build this up excuse me, and let this cure, because we need to place decorative elements on top of this our necklace here. So sorry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna sculpt our little dais here, or our amulet base, while remembering to keep our stuff nice and wet, and making sure that we're keeping our circle. Be afraid to use your finger if you're having trouble. Alright, now I'm going to go in with a larger tool and really get this, because I want to get this smooth. So now I'm gonna go back to smoothing, and I hope I haven't put my fingers in there. Didn't. Woo! Close. Oh, had to check. Nope, we're gonna go back in with a lubed up larger tool and try and smooth. I'm gonna be smoothing this out here. Remember what I said about working in circles. It really does help. Man, that just does not want to come out of there. It really does help get a nice flat surface. Smooth flat surface on whatever you're sculpting. Alright, so looks like we need some more stuff down here, because it is not wanting to come clean. So I gotta put a little bit more green stuff down on the bottom here. So let's continue to get our work. Once again, I'll switch back to my hard edge tool to really smash it up in there and get it to adhere. And then once we have that going on, we've got it blended in and feathered in, we can go back to our smoothing tool and make sure that we can get a nice flat surface. That can cure and we can sculpt on later. And we'll come back when it is, I'll finish flattening this out so you guys can see it making this circle, because this isn't really a lot of fun to watch. So, and then we'll come back to this. Once I have this all straightened out here. Another good way to make sure that you have a good shape is to hold your objects upside down too. You'll see usually 9 times out of 10, if you're off, just hold it at different directions. It really especially helps with circles and getting your perspective right on your faces and stuff like that. It helps you to see if, like, oh, this side's off a little bit. See, if you see while I'm holding it, what I mean, you'll see as I rotate it, you can see where there's certain places it is off. So, and we just straighten them out as we go. And boom. And we have a nice circle right there. And now what I want to do is go around and add a little like edge to our deal. Let me put my goggles on for this. And I'm going to go in again with my hard edge tool and maybe some more water, keep that stuff wet. And I'm just going to go lightly, oh no. Ooh, that was close. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly go in and make a little rim here. And I am barely cutting into this, guys. Barely touching this, just sketching right around. The edge, keeping my tool wet. And you really don't want to drag it because you'll pull the green stuff. So just be very careful with what you're doing. try to keep your edge even. As you can see, I got off a little bit. Let me get another tool here. And we just screwed the pooch right there. But we can come back and fix that. So just keep going around, making your little edge for your medallion, or whatever you want to do. You guys, it's all up to how fast you can work with this stuff to create your detail. And really get it done. So now we'll go back in. Now that I've put that detail in there, I'm going to go in with my soft edge tool and just go right around it. And what that does is that smooths out the inside there. Then I'm going to go around here and reestablish a little bit of a rim here. And it's okay if you got some nooks or something like that, you know. This is a creature, so don't be afraid, you know what I mean? It'll be okay. It you know, it's just wear and tear on its medallion or something like that, you know. Just try to make it as clean as you can. Like right now I'm kind of messing this up. So I'm going to go in here, try to clean it up a little bit instead of messing it up. So I'm saying you really have to be careful on where you're touching, how much pressure you're applying. Green stuff is definitely a fickle mistress. So just going to go in here, reestablish this edge here to our medallion. Push this back out. And just play with it, guys, until you are happy with what you have. Like I said, maybe you want some scratches or little wear and tear marks in there, you know what I mean? But be fun with it. You know, be creative, have fun, you know. Now, once we got that, we can go over it with our bigger tool and kind of just, again, really lightly circles. Real lightly circles. Just to bring it all right back together. you know, and again, you know, switch around, make sure you're still on par with your perspective and everything. Hold it at different angles. Make sure you're not pushing out your work that you've already accomplished here. So just be careful with it. Remember, you're gonna have to paint over this, so rotate it again. Make sure you've got all your areas nice and even. Here we go. We've got a really, 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 really cool looking demon medallion necklace there. And we're going to let that cure, come back to it. And put some other elements on it. So thank you guys for joining me on making this very first video. Not first, but this first sculpting video. And we'll be back in the next video. We will add decorative elements to our little platform here and to our back. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you soon.